Alright, let's get started. Welcome, high-level personnel, to today's classified briefing. You're sitting in this room because you've been granted the clearance to review the operational parameters of a highly volatile Euclid-class threat. We're looking at SCP-009 today. Look, the stakes of this briefing literally cannot be overstated. A failure to understand the material we're going over doesn't just mean a localized breach. We're talking about a potential global extinction-level event. So I need your absolute utmost focus. So here's our itinerary. We're going to hit 5 key areas: containment protocols, anomalous properties, biological conversion, the retrieval timeline, and finally, the alternate universe hypothesis. Let's just dive right in. Section 1. Containment protocols. Absolute isolation procedures. The sheer unbelievable redundancy required to keep this substance stable is absolutely crucial to understand. SCP-009 has to be housed in a sealed, heat-resistant alloy tank no smaller than 2 by 2 by 2 meters and kept strictly below 0 degrees Celsius at all times. To pull that off, we use 3 redundant cooling units that are monitored 24/7. Now, if that temperature climbs even slightly above -5 degrees, we initiate an immediate lockdown and flood the chamber with coolant to slam it back down to -30. Testing? It requires a total vacuum and full environmental gear, no exceptions. And post-testing involves a mandatory 12-hour dehydration and quarantining for everyone and everything involved. Trust me, even a minor thermal breach is completely catastrophic. Which brings us to the most important number of the day, 30 meters. You maintain a hard 30-meter perimeter. Absolutely no water-based solutions are allowed within 30 meters of that containment area. Why? Because a single drop of mundane moisture wandering into that zone could kick off a runaway chain reaction that our systems literally cannot suppress. Moving to Section 2, anomalous properties, subversion of enthalpy. So this anomaly violently contrasts with mundane physics. On the surface, it kind of looks like distilled water, but with this distinct bright red hue, which is actually our best and fastest way to spot contamination. But here's the kicker. Its states of matter are completely inverted. Normal H2O, as you know, freezes below 0 degrees and boils at 100. SCP-009, it's a solid above 0 degrees Celsius. It liquefies between -100 and 0, and it only vaporizes below -100 degrees. It's a total, literal subversion of standard enthalpy. It just doesn't play by the rules. And this brilliantly illustrates our true threat vector. The main hazard of SCP-009 isn't just that its temperature is inverted. No, it's its ability to assimilate normal aqueous solutions. Whether we're talking about ice, steam, a cup of tea, fruit juice, seawater, or human blood, SCP-009 transfers its anomalous properties to literally any moisture it touches. It acts exactly like a highly contagious viral contaminant, just converting regular matter into more of itself. Let's turn to Section 3, biological conversion. D-Class personnel testing stages. The clinical progression of biological conversion is, frankly, horrific to witness. Step 1. Initial exposure. The substance assimilates surface moisture on the skin. Usually, the subject just feels a slight warming sensation, nothing major. Then, Step 2. Surface conversion. The natural heat of the human body raises the anomaly's temperature above 0 degrees. Frost starts forming, and then red crystals violently erupt right out of the epidermis. Finally, Step 3. Deep tissue conversion. That exponential temperature increase causes a runaway internal crystallization process. And here's the truly grim part. Because those internal ice crystals essentially plug the wounds, actual blood loss is practically 0, meaning the victim remains fully, painfully conscious for hours as they literally freeze solid from the inside out. Alright, Section 4. Retrieval timeline. Origin and incident logs. On November 5th, SCP-009 was retrieved in Alaska after a native tribe stumbled upon the mangled, red ice-encased remains of shipwrecked seal hunters. But the true horror of this situation really hit on December 6th. That's when Foundation surveys confirmed the initial site was a stretch of barren rock merely meters away from the seashore. Think about that for a second. If that original spill had reached Alaskan waters, oceanic contamination would have undeniably triggered a global extinction-level event. So unsurprisingly, by January 9th, O5 Command was actively evaluating requests for a Keter upgrade and exploring potential cold fusion applications. Which leads us directly to this memo from O5 Command, and I quote, "We've decided to keep this thing Euclid for now. As for the cold fusion research, we're putting a pin in that. we don't have it in the budget for another snafu. Look, O5 Command's pragmatic decree really highlights the bureaucratic reality of Foundation leadership. They firmly rejected the key to reclassification, basically banking on our ability to maintain strict containment protocols, and they completely shut down those risky cold fusion experiments after, well, previous heavily redacted catastrophic failures. Moving on to Section 5, Alternate Universe Hypothesis, Cross-Testing Report 9507F23. Now the implications shift from a nasty chemical hazard to a full-blown extradimensional threat when you review our cross-tests with SCP-507. In a parallel reality, introducing a mere 10 milliliters of SCP-009 produced a moderate red snow that fell for 27 solid minutes. The environmental reaction? Immediate. Local grass froze instantly via a runaway reaction. But far more alarmingly, the non-grass flora turned bright red, greatly expanded, and actually mutated to grow cyan tentacles, something resembling the Drosera capensis species. These plants didn't just survive the red ice, they integrated SCP-009 directly into their cellular structure, weaponizing it to produce a mucilage made entirely of SCP-009 beads. This brings us to the xenospatial physics hypothesis. Dr. Blind theorizes that SCP-009, along with that mutated flora capable of surviving and integrating it, actually originate from an alternate universe with completely divergent physical laws. This strongly suggests that the substance we have in that tank is not merely some localized anomaly. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a native element of a completely foreign reality that is violently imposing its own physics onto ours. So, we are left with one incredibly critical question. Is SCP-009 just a contained anomalous material, or is it actually the vanguard of an extra-dimensional ecosystem just waiting for the chance to consume our oceans? I want you to seriously reflect on that as you review your containment schedules. You aren't just guarding a tank of red ice down there, you are literally holding back an invasive alien ecosystem. Study your briefings, maintain absolute containment, and whatever you do, do not let your guard down. Dismissed. This concludes today's briefing. If you wish to maintain your current clearance level and ensure continued access to the Versarian database, a subscription to this channel is mandatory. Secure your connection by leaving a like on this file, and log your requests in the comments section below to dictate which anomaly we unseal next. Stay vigilant and expect your next set of logs every day. Secure, contain, protect.